My name is Angela A.C. Dumlao. I was born in Brooklyn, New York, and raised on Long Island. My parents are immigrants from the Philippines, so I'm a first-generation American. I identify as queer, trans, non-binary. I use the pronouns they, them. I currently work at the Transgender Legal Defense and Education Fund as the Name Change Project Coordinator, and I'm also the creator of the Facebook community page, Call Me They. My coming out story. I have a lot of coming out stories. I come out all the time as queer and trans to strangers on the street, and I've also come out to friends and acquaintances and coworkers and family members. And so I think today I want to focus more on kind of my initial coming out process and my family. So I grew up Catholic, very Catholic. In the Philippines, the official religion of the Philippines is Catholicism. And so when my family was here and had me, I went to Catholic school from nursery through high school. So that's age 3 to 18. That is a long time to be in Catholic school. And obviously Catholicism preaches that marriage is between a man and a woman. The current pope is a little more progressive, but he hasn't really changed that. And so growing up, I didn't really think or know about my sexuality or my gender. I assumed that I was a girl growing up to be a woman, and I assumed that I was straight, and I didn't think about it a lot. And in high school, when I became a teenager and I was going through adolescence, I was really a perfectionist and a high achiever, so I felt like I was dating school. I wasn't really concerned about boys or dating. I didn't date anyone really, and I did think boys were cute and had crushes on them, but nothing ever happened there. Retrospectively, I definitely had a lot of close relationships with my classmates who are girls and strong women in the school that could be identified as crushes now, but I didn't see it that way at the time. It wasn't until college when I fell in love with my best friend, who was a woman, that my world really shifted. So she was my first love, and being in love with her, as with first loves, I felt that she was my everything and that I could never love anyone else. And so being a person who thought they were straight and now was in love with a woman, I still thought to myself, like, oh, I'm straight, but I'm in love with her. And she didn't love that. And I had a hard time grappling with what I had grown up to understand about myself. I was, still at the time identifying as Catholic. I was the vice president of the Catholic community at school. And so there was this dichotomy of myself as a very religious person, but also in love with a woman, not necessarily identifying as gay or lesbian or queer yet. I guess fast forward a little bit, I ended up dating that person. I started identifying as gay, as lesbian, as queer. At college, I went to a liberal arts college, so it was a very open, accepting environment, but I never mentioned this to my family at home. And I knew in my heart, I felt that my parents would accept me for being queer, but there was just this one little inkling, 1% thinking, what if they don't accept me? What if I lose my financial stability and the people who are paying for my college? So I made a pact with myself that I would not come out to them until I had finished school and I was more financially independent. Fast forward a little bit later, it is the summer after I graduate from college. I am with my girlfriend at the time, and she's home for a graduation party. She is introduced to my parents as my friend, quote unquote. A lot of people introduce their friends to their family or loved ones or parents before they are out. And she had left and gone home, and the party was over, and that time was over, and I was out on the porch with my dad, and he says to me, so when are you going to tell your mom about you and name of my girlfriend at the time? And I start crying, and I'm bawling. It's like a beautiful summer night, like chirping. It's a really beautiful moment. And I asked if he's known, and he said that he's known like since I was 8 years old, and that he loves me and accepts me. And it was a very overwhelming, beautiful night. And I asked him, so does mom know? And he says, of course mom knows. Like, and I told her that, name of your girlfriend is like part of the family, etc. And so from that point, it was a huge burden lifted off my shoulders, but my mom was really the one who was like sticking out to come out to. And there's a difference between people knowing something and saying it explicitly. And so even though I knew that my mom knew and there was this kind of mutual subtextual understanding, it wasn't until really Christmas that I came out to her explicitly. It's December and we go out on a shopping trip, and I'm waiting to tell her this whole time. Like, I'm waiting to tell her in the driveway of our house when we've returned, but while we're on the trip, she keeps going to all these stores, like making the trip longer. It's very excruciating. So finally, we get back to the driveway of our house, and she's getting ready to get out of the car, and I say, Mom, I have something to tell you. I say, I'm gay. She says, I know, and the theme here is crying, so I'm bawling, and I just feel really wonderful and accepted. And I want to say it does not go perfectly. There are some politically incorrect things said about sexuality and gender from my mother, who I love, and she has evolved a lot since then. But I was then, out to them. Fast forward to now, I am engaged to my beautiful fiance, Caitlin, and my parents love Caitlin. In Filipino culture, food is extremely important. So in addition to Caitlin checking off the box of loving Filipino food, whenever I come home, we come home, my parents always send us home with like a to-go bag of like all this Filipino food, and they always buy her favorite treats, which are Filipino polvoron and turon. And they don't buy extra treats for me, they buy them for Caitlin, which doesn't make any sense because I am their actual child, but they love her, and it is amazing. Additionally, we got engaged recently, and Caitlin actually learned how to ask for my parents' permission to propose to me in Tagalog, which is the language of the Philippines, and that's really beautiful. And so it's pretty amazing to be at this point. My relationship with my parents isn't perfect. We don't really explicitly talk about queer issues necessarily, or use language that is usually used in academia and social justice, but I know that they love me and accept me, and that's really amazing. And I think, like I said, I come out all the time, and if you're watching this and you are thinking about coming out, or have a similar background, or don't have a similar background but just want to be seen and heard, I just want to tell you that I would have never seen myself being where I am and this happy. And it's not perfect, and I'm still learning and growing. My family is still learning and growing, but there really is hope out there.